Hello and welcome to the show. And thank you for staying locked in, because I get it. No one really wants to talk about death. Not our death, not anybody else's death, especially if we love them. It's just tough. But a terminal diagnosis forces you to have some tough conversations. And the woman you are about to meet says the conversation doesn't always have to be so sad and so heavy. Dayna Farris-Fisher was diagnosed with a form of cancer that doctors said they just cannot cure. This was after several diagnoses of different types of cancers. It was tough to hear, but instead of focusing on her death, she and her loved ones chose to celebrate life and focus on life every day and every way. It's my honor to have Dayna here on the show. Hello, sis.
Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and I thank you just for being willing to have this kind of a conversation in such a candid way, because this is about celebrating the life.
Facts. Everybody's born and everybody dies.
Yeah.
But not everybody lives. So for me, the living part is what matters.
Yeah.
Really.
Let's talk about how, what this journey has looked like for you, because this is several years in the making, right?
Yes. So I was first diagnosed with breast cancer in 2013, and I was convinced that was the only time I was going to have cancer. I even had an end of chemo cancer celebration party at the chemotherapy room, catered food for I cooked it, but I brought food for everybody.
Yeah.
People flew in for it. I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, I got diagnosed with ovarian cancer. And I think that one was somewhat harder for me, actually.
Why?
Because in my mind, I had convinced myself that I was done, that I was never going to go back there, that I had beaten the cancer, that I was a survivor and all of that talk. So that was hard for me. And I still had little children. And I knew that ovarian cancer was, the survival rates weren't as good.
Right.
So anyway.
Is this at the time of the ovarian cancer diagnosis?
That is actually my end of chemo celebration party. So everybody came, the kids came, we took them out of school, and my husband came, and we celebrated my end of chemo celebration. Yeah.
So I have to ask, at what point did you decide, or at what point did you learn that this was terminal? Because I have to be honest, that's even hard for me to say as I look you in your beautiful eyes. How do you reconcile that?
Well, so I was worried that my ovarian cancer was going to kill me, and my children were really little. And the thought of leaving little children is what broke my heart, right? So when the metastatic diagnosis came in 2021, I felt like my daughter was very successfully launched, and my sons were getting ready to graduate from high school, and my hope was that I would live long enough to see them launched into adulthood. Yeah. And it gives me more peace knowing that I've done my mother job and that my kids are doing well, and I can go on to whatever God has in store for me next, whatever comes next. So that was an easier transition, truthfully, for me than in 2016 when I got the ovarian diagnosis.
Understood.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. And from mother to mother, I can hear and feel you on that, just wanting to make sure your children are good. Right. You decided to have your own memorial service.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
I love the smile that came out of that that
fantastic.
answer. When did you decide to do it, and why did you want it to do it?
So I have metastatic tumors only in my bones, which are very painful. And they were giving me a medication to try and slow them down. And I had a bad reaction to the medication. And so at that point, my friends and I were talking, and I thought, why give me my flowers when I'm dead, right? Yeah. So I thought I would just have a picnic in the park and have some pizza and salad, and folks could come and go. I wanted my kids to get a sense of who I was before I was their mother. I think kids only see you from one angle, right? Until maybe later when they become adults, and then they can see you in a different way. Yeah. But I won't be here for that. So I wanted them to be able to know me when I was in high school, know me when I was in elementary school, hear stories about me from college, hear stories about me when I was Sex in the City. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
Yes. Did somebody tell your Sex and the City versions?
not to the kids,
Good.
but they were there. You know, they told them the G-rated things.
Right,
so that
but
was
that's
good.
the point, right?
Right.
You wanted them to hear you. So I understand there were people who came from elementary
That's
school.
right. There were people I hadn't seen from elementary school. There were people from really literally every stage of my life were there. There were people that I met during COVID in a virtual space that I had never met physically that flew in for it. It was
How
really
long ago was
fantastic.
this?
This was in 2022.
So 2022, did you feel like was there a sense of having to rush to do it?
So my father died right before COVID hit. My father died, and he had retired to Florida, but I grew up in Detroit. So I was planning a memorial for him from afar. It was really hard, and I thought, I don't want my children to have to do this. And so instead of, I thought, well, I'll have this memorial now, and that way they won't have to do it after I'm gone, because we'll already have done the memorial.
And here we are 3 years later, praise God.
That's right.
So what have you been doing since then?
Living. I really
What
have.
does living look like when
So-
you know?
It looks different for every person, I would say. For me, my every day I wake up and I say, I'm going to find joy today. And every day I wake up and say, how can I create a memory with someone that I love? So my biggest focus has
I feel
been
like
on.
we should all be living like that. I feel like that's almost the real teachable moment there.
Well, yes, we all should,
be,
but
yeah.
it doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
You have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And for being in this cancer journey for so long, the financial strain of it is so significant that I just got to the point where I was like, well, why keep focusing on the hustle and trying to make money and trying to figure all the financial pieces out? Just go and have joy. I mean, what's the difference? You're already in debt. If you add another $1,000 because you went to the Eiffel Tower with your kids, oh well.
Oh, well.
Right?
Yeah, because you're going to remember the Eiffel Tower I presume, like nothing else.
So my youngest son, when I had this second, I think it was the second cancer, and I said to him, well, I'm going to lose my hair. Are you going to be okay with that? And he said, well, I don't really remember that last time. And I said, well, do you remember us going to the Eiffel Tower? And he said, yes.
Absolutely.
So I want them to have memories of us doing fun, joyful things, not just me being sick.
Lots more travel to talk about and lots more of this journey to talk about when we return, because after the break, you're going to meet Dayna's children, Mason and Alexa. There they are. They're going to join the conversation, and you're going to hear what celebrating their mother's life looks like from their perspective, that joy every day. We're talking about it when the conversation continues after the break. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really want to thank you for season 3 of Portia. It's because of loyal viewers like you that we keep getting to share this daily dose of positivity all across the country. So just a reminder, I still need you to like, comment, and subscribe, and go ahead and tell your friends. You can catch us now in Orlando, in San Francisco, in Atlanta, and all across the country on Fox Soul. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon on Portia.